Hey, HorseCenter fans, Matt Schiffman and I are back talking about a fantastic festival of racing at Belmont Park over the next 3 days. Matt, this is some good racing.
It sure is. The Belmont Stakes capping it all out. 3 days, great racing, the end of the Triple Crown season, and it all begins today with Brian Zipsy's birthday. Happy birthday, my friend.
Thank you, Matt. But more importantly, we got dozens and dozens of Grade 1 horses running at Belmont Park over the next few days. Matt and I give you a bunch of suggested wagers. We plan to hit it big right here on HorseCenter. Welcome to another edition of HorseCenter, everyone. I am Brian Zipsy, and as always, I have the excellent pleasure of being joined by my co-host to the East Coast. That's Matt Schiffman. How are you today, Matt?
I am good, Brian. Here we are just days before the huge Belmont Racing Festival anchored by the Belmont Stakes. The end of the Triple Crown is upon us.
It's been a little bit tumultuous, this Triple Crown, Matt, but this festival of racing, a little bit on Thursday, some more on Friday, and then bam on Saturday. It is the best card of American racing, other than the Breeders' Cup, that you will find all year long, Matt. Let's jump right into this great weekend of racing. Thursday, we need to talk about the 3-year-old fillies on the turf, because I think Chad Brown has two very interesting fillies running on Thursday.
Yeah, we've got a newspaper of record coming back. As we know, she lost in her 2019 debut to the very, very, very good filly Concrete Rose. So Chad Brown has admittedly said she was maybe a little short in that race. Well, we'll see. She comes back. The field isn't that tough. She's going to be a really short price, but she's got to go 1.125 miles in there. And the turf course is probably not going to be yielding or soft like it was in her 3 victories. It's probably going to be firm and pretty fast, which is really different. Do I expect her to lose? Probably not, but these are a couple of new things that the relatively inexperienced filly needs to deal with.
Yeah, I'm excited to see her, Matt. She was so good at 2. Often, you're right, all the time, she had cut in the ground in her 3 huge wins at 2. I was there at Keeneland that day, Churchill Downs that day, when she did run second in her 3-year-old debut to another, as you mentioned, really good filly. So I don't think there was too much wrong with her debut, but when you do everything she did at 2, people kind of scratch their heads when there's a loss in there. Love to see her bounce back. I want to see newspaper of record be that kind of filly that we thought she might be. That would be exciting for American turf racing. Having said that, the other Chad Brown filly is no joke. Cambier Park. Now, she was 4th that day behind newspaper of record, but I think she's got a ton of potential. The daughter of Sealy Hill who was a female Canadian. She was a horse of the year as a female up there in Canada. And Cambier Park, let me tell you, Matt, she's physically one of the best looking horses I've seen in years. So I'm looking for the Chad Browns to put on a show on Thursday. Matt, the racing just gets better on Friday. Another filly that you gotta like, Matt, and she's running in the Better Roses earlier on Friday is Shalom. She is as consistent as they come. She'll be facing a Chad Brown filly who hopes to bounce back a little bit after a disappointing return in Separation of Powers. So if Separation of Powers shows all her talent, I think the Better Roses could be interesting. But I'll tell you right now, if I had to pick a filly to win the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint later this year, Shalom would be right up there at the top of the list.
That should be an exciting sprint.
Absolutely. And sprint Saturday, Matt, we got the True North. And that could be a very, very important race as we move later in the year. You know, you got some nice ralliers in there. Whitmore, Duchere's gotten good of late. You got some talented speed horses like Recruiting Ready and Strike Power. Matt, I think the horse that we all really want to see in the True North is the return of Catalina Cruiser, an exciting older horse for trainer John Sadler.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that he's going to be making his debut shipping out to New York from California. And we remember how good Catalina Cruiser was last year. He went on that 3-race winning streak and was pretty amazing. He then in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, you can only say he disappointed. Something went awry in there, and Catalina Cruiser has been away since then, working extremely well with a mixture of that California style of the 6 furlong works and the speedier breezes in there. So, hey, Brian, I think if Catalina Cruiser is the Catalina Cruiser in that winning streak, it's going to be tough for everybody else. But this is a good field, and there's some speed in there, and it isn't going to be easy, and it's a big field. I like a couple of those horses that you mentioned in there as possible upsetters because of the speed. I like Duchère, and I like Whitmore. Folks, I think you got to take the way their past performances look for that last race at Churchill Downs against Matoli. You have to take that with a grain of salt, or understand that Matoli was just so overwhelming in there, and Duchère was at the back of the pack and ended up 4th, 5 or so lengths behind, and Whitmore 1 spot behind Duchère. Similarly, Matoli was just so good in there. I look for better situations for Duchère and Whitmore in there. Whitmore is going back to having Ricardo Santana in the saddle, which I really like to see. He knows how to get Whitmore rolling down the stretch for the big kind of wins.
Absolutely, Matt. And of course, Whitmore was second in this race last year to Imperial Hint. He might run into a same kind of powerhouse in Catalina Cruiser. Catalina Cruiser could be one of the most exciting horses of 2019, if indeed 2018 was just the tip of the iceberg. He has to prove he can do it away from California, because all his wins came in California, and then he disappointed, like you said, at Churchill Downs for the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. But the return of this talent in a good sprint is a very interesting development on Friday. Also, Matt, the True North starts the Festival Pick 6, which is a 20-cent wager. It's a new wager. It involves 2 nice stakes on Friday, 4 Grade 1s on Saturday, culminating with the Belmont Stakes. We're going to talk more about that, but the True North kicks off that new wager, and that will be fun. And Matt and I are both going to take a swing at that little 20-cent Pick 6. Matt, what else on Friday? We got the New York Handicap. Homerique was a filly I was talking about before her debut here in America. She was really good. The daughter of Exchange Rate was really good in France. She came over to the Chad Brown, as so many European imports do, and she looked the part, beating her stablemate really nicely last time in the Beaugay. It was more impressive than the final margin would indicate. We get to see Homerique stretching out, a thing that she hasn't done a whole lot of in the New York on Friday.
Yeah, and I agree with what you said, that if you just look at Homerique's past performance line in there and you didn't watch the race, you might say, oh, she barely got up for the victory. But she's not that kind of horse that's going to run off to with her late move to a 2, 3, 4 length win. She's kind of more like Lady Eli was, who was always coming and getting up by a length or so at the wire. And as you said, she beat a very, very good stable mate in there. And as we talked about the last time, when she was racing in Europe, she was racing not only in the same spots, but was very competitive with some of the best European fillies and mares.
Absolutely, yeah. Homerique has the potential to be as good as any filly and mare on American turf this year. So it'll be interesting to see how she moves forward from start 1, the stretch out again to 10 furlongs. competition of ideas was the other Chad Brown, and it looks like her main competition again on Friday. Another nice Chad Brown turf filly. Matt, let's end our Friday talk a little bit with Belmont Gold Cup. 2 miles on the Belmont turf, which is a welcome addition. It's been here for a few years, but it's a nice thing to have a little bit of love for the marathoners. And Matt, I really like 2 horses in here. One's from America, one's from Europe. I'll just say them right now. My 2 horses are Arklow, who I've always liked on the American front, and Ra Atoll, I think, is a very nice turf horse coming in from Europe.
Yes, that's for sure. I like those 2, and Brian and I also like Red Knight in there. Red Knight and Ra Atoll are both horses with wins, going 2 miles, and that's important in there. Ra Atoll last time won a 2-mile race in Germany. And one of the things that I always say about handicapping, because you don't get quite as much information on those European races, and hey, most of us don't spend that much time looking at them. I always look at the past performances and try and find horses that ran at the marquee tracks in Europe, like Ascot and Longchamp in France and the Cur in Ireland, and see if they competed well there. Well, that horse, aside from winning that 2-mile race in Germany last summer, ran 4th in one of the big graded races at Royal Ascot. So there's some quality there.
Yeah, absolutely. Ra Atoll is the classy horse. There are other horses coming from Europe who have been a distance before, and you do have to watch out. But Ra Atoll, a couple Group 2 races over there, like Matt mentioned, in England, and then more recently in Germany, he ran against good horses, especially in that English race. It points him out. He's got one race where he didn't fire at all, but on a class standpoint, he is the class of the race coming from Europe. Although I really do like Arklow quite a bit in here too, Matt, an American who has proven that he can win at multiple distances, but I think he's getting better as the distances get longer. So Arklow is another horse to watch out for. That's part of a special daily double on Friday, but it's also the second leg of that festival pick 6 that we were talking about a little bit already. Matt, let's jump into Saturday. Saturday's just grade 1, up and down. We're going to talk about 8 races a little bit here, folks. They're all grade 1. The first one I want to mention is the first grade 1 of the day, Matt. That's the Just a Game 1 mile on the Belmont turf for some of the best older turf females in the country. Everybody, all eyes will be watching Rushing Fall, a filly who just hasn't lost a lot.
Yeah, she's, I think, Brian, she's 7 wins in 8 starts, and a second in there. She hasn't done much wrong. Likes to get out front and run on the lead. But I think you like someone at a price in here.
I actually do. I think Rushing Fall is a terrific turf filly, and she'll be making her second start of the year. But she'll be odds on. And Got Stormy is a filly I've been watching for a while.
Oh, yeah.
I think she really loves a mile. She ran a good race for me as a long shot on Derby Day, but unfortunately couldn't hold on. There was a little more cut in the ground that day than I hope is at Belmont, because I think she really wants a mile on firm turf. So if she can get closer to 10-1 in here with all the money on Rushing Fall, Get Stormy is a very interesting long shot again for me in the Just a Game. Matt, speaking of good fillies, let's move right into the Ogden Phipps, because small field, but an interesting matchup led by Midnight Basoo.
Yes, that's for sure. Midnight Basoo is unbeaten this year. Has taken over the division in the absence of Monomoy Girl, but it's not a big field, but it's a pretty good field.
Yeah, it is, Matt. And Midnight Basoo, other than Monomoy Girl, Midnight Basoo really has a fantastic record. She fires every time. She's 3 for 3 this year, so she has to be the leader of the division, winning stakes all over the country. And if you remember last year, she ran a big race at Belmont in the Mother Goose. So Midnight is a deserving favorite, but the horse she narrowly beat last time at Oaklawn, a horse from Western Canada, Escape Clause, is proving that she's the real deal. And then you got the hot New York horse, Come Dancing, on the rail with speed. And Come Dancing has just been getting better and better. She's always been good, but she continues to get better. A lot of people outside New York don't know her yet, but I really think she could beat Midnight Bassoon in this spot.
Yeah, if she can keep things going, another race, she's going to make things tough for Midnight Bassoon because she is fast and she is competitive. But, she's got some, she's had some problems in the past. And I think at this point she's put 2-3 really strong races together. So we'll see.
Yeah, look for Midnight Bassoon ridden by Mike Smith to get an aggressive ride to try not to let that filly on the rail, Come Dancing, get away. Should be a nice showdown. Matt, we're going to jump back onto the turf for the next one. It's the Jaipur. Another nice race. Belvoir Bay is just a really nice mare, but it's hard to look past World of Trouble, who's been a monster on turf, pretty much a monster on dirt, a monster when sprinting on any surface. And then the old Belmont star, Disco Partner, Matt, who's won 9 times at Belmont Park.
Yeah, that is an interesting comparison with the younger World of Trouble, who won at so impressively at Churchill Downs last time, and the time before that, going 7 furlongs in the Carter on the dirt. Jason Service has got this horse in tremendous form, a super talent. But hey, Disco Partner loves Belmont Park. Pretty terrific matchup.
Pretty terrific matchup, and there's others in there too. I mentioned the mare Belvoir Bay, but also undrafted. It should be a fun division of the Jaipur sprinting on the grass. Speaking of sprinting, Matt, I guess it's not a sprint. It's a 1 mile acorn we've enjoyed all of our lives, and we got another nice acorn here on Belmont Stakes Day. Of course, it's a 1-turn 1 mile at Belmont Park, and Serengeti Empress is sure to be the favorite off her dashing win in the Kentucky Oaks last time. But I tell you what, the Tom Amoss filly likes to be on the lead, Matt. And I'm looking at these past performances, and I am seeing a lot of fillies that like to be on the lead with some serious speed lining up against her in the acorn.
That is for sure. There is some serious speed in there, and I know in the past some of Serengeti Empress's other races, we've kind of thought similarly. Hey, there's a lot of speed in there. Might be tough for her. I agree, but you think that, and somehow Serengeti Empress gets her head out in front right away, and she's on her way. She's gonna be tough to beat, but I agree. She's going to be a really short price, and we know in the past that when she doesn't get the lead, that she usually backs out of it. So I don't know if it's a race where I want to be betting on her at maybe even money.
Yeah, well, the Chad Brown filly who won by an absolute pole last time, Guarana, should get some play in here, Matt, as the clear second choice. But yeah, Serengeti Empress, I think, has to be the favorite. And yeah, she's shown, for whatever reason, she's shown the ability to throw in clunkers here and there. Maybe she's past that, and maybe she wins this on class. But I tell you, at the odds and with the race setup, it's a race I'm looking forward to bet a little bit, and I'll talk about it a little bit later in the show. But I've got some Woody Stevens deep field. There's not a ton of class in this Woody Stevens, but there's a bunch of interesting sprinters. But of course, the one class horse we know about for sure is Mind Control.
Yeah, it's great to see Mind Control back, and of course, Mind Control has several impressive wins. He, as a 2-year-old, he won the Hopeful, and then this year he was sort of maybe on the Derby Trail, up to the point where he won the Jerome. And then his New Jersey-based connections and trainer Greg Sacco decided, and I think it was a sort of a brave decision and a smart decision at the same time, because it's tough to say no to all the Kentucky Derby hype and the big purses and the glitz and the glamour. But they said, hey, we know mind control, and he's a one-turn horse. So they went to the Bayshore, and he won the Bayshore. This is a gutsy horse, a competitive horse, a horse that last race showed that he can sit a little bit off of some other speed and still rally and win. So no doubt that Mind Control is the horse to beat. But for Chad Brown, we got Complexity coming back, who last year was one of the big names looking ahead from 2-year-olds to 3-year-olds. He was an impressive maiden winner, as it turned out. The horse that was second in that race was Harvey Wallbanger, and then he came back and won the Champagne. And second in that race was Code of Honor. So both of those wins have been flattered as the Derby Trail went along. And then, of course, Complexity was close to the favorite in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and just and nothing went right in there. And he's been away since then, and now he comes back. Not an easy field. Can he come back the way he was? If so, he's a threat in here. But like most of the Chad Brown horses in New York, he's going to have a good bit of money bet on him.
Absolutely. This is, by the way, it's like 3 of the festival pick 6. Complexity, a fresh Complexity, I think adds up more speed to a race that already has a lot of speed. For the odds and those reasons, I'm gonna lay off Complexity in here. But an interesting return. The other Chad Brown in there is very interesting as well. That horse's name is Honest Mischief. One for fun out here in Kentucky. Matt, he's a son of Into Mischief and a really good mare, one-turn mare named Honest Lady, who ran about a decade ago. So great breeding on Honest Mischief, a nice win last time for him. And then there's a lot of interesting long shots that could be picking up horses, maybe none more interesting to me than the Steve Asmussen trained Nitrous, who can rally and is proven to be a classy one-turn horse. Matt, let's keep moving forward here. The Met Mile. We've talked about the Met Mile a little bit on this show already, but hey, Ferenzi, Fire, McKinsey, Matoli, Thunder Snow, Cold Front, Prince Lucky. Who else, Matt? This is a great.
It is. Yeah, you said Cold Front in there. It's a great field. It's loaded with Grade 1 winners. It's loaded with millionaires. McKinsey, Bob Baffert, Mike Smith, big win last time, career record, impressive numbers, is gonna be a favorite in here. I don't know. McKinsey has only twice in his career run one-turn races. Those were both 7-furlong races. One of them was his maiden special weight victory, and the other one was at the end of last year against 3-year-olds in the Malibu, where he was an impressive winner in there. Is McKinsey better at one turn? Sometimes I feel like that's so, but I guess clearly Baffert doesn't think so, because the majority of his races have been going 2 turns. I think McKinsey's vulnerable in here. You got Matoli, who ran that just crazy impressive race, stretching out to 7 furlongs, and now would have to go another furlong in the one-turn mile. Can he do it? Yeah, maybe he can. Thunder Snow is over here. I never know what to expect from him, but he's a darn good horse in that field. And then there is Ferenzi Fire, unbeaten at Belmont Park.
Yeah, Matt, and that's why he's my top pick. I was actually a little surprised that he was 4-1 on the morning line. I think he'll be higher than that for sure. but he loves Belmont. I mean, some horses are undefeated through a few races at a track, and it's a little bit of luck of the draw. But this horse just really loves Belmont Park. All of his races at Belmont Park are superlative. I think he can get first jump on horses like Promises Fulfilled and Matoli, and make a move, but it's not going to be easy. And there's a reason I think he's going to be 7-1 or so. McKinsey, Matt, if you look at that Grade 1 7-furlong race late last year, he really did rally well that day, and that makes me think he's even tougher in here because of the speed. I think that's a good way for McKinsey to win this race. So certainly a big danger there. Matoli, as you said, has been so impressive sprinting. Don't count out Promises Fulfilled. He's classy Grade 1 speed. He hasn't won yet this year, but his papa took this race all the way in his game of performance. I'm talking about Shackelford, of course. And then you got the aspect of the top sprinters against the top 2-turn horses. Thunder Snow is a top 2-turn horse, a Dubai World Cup winner twice over. Look at Coalfront's record, Matt, this year. I mean, all over the world. And Prince Lucky, I tell you, draw a line through the last race. Prince Lucky, and he won on the Belmont card last year. Prince Lucky is a talented horse, maybe a long shot to throw in. So just a wonderful mile. Can't wait for that one. And then we got the Manhattan, Matt, and there's some good turf horses in here, Channel Maker and Raging Bull and Corbin. But it really, conversation has to start with Bricks and Mortar.
Yeah, it sure does. Since Chad Brown has brought Bricks and Mortar back from the problems that he had back at the end of 2017 off that year or so layoff, he has been perfect. 4 wins, 4 starts. He's another one of those horses that's got that tremendous turn of foot move down the stretch that gets him up for the half length kind of victory. And there are some newcomers in this field, but there are a lot of horses in the field from that last race also. I think that Bricks and Mortar is going to be tough.
Yeah, kind of like we talked about Homerique, where confidently handled would be my description of her Bogey win. That's how Bricks and Mortar has looked all year. He's just waiting for the jockey to let him go, and when he lets him go, it's pretty awesome. So I can't look past him here. He stretches out to 1.25 miles. He's already been 1 3/16. Really, really nice turf horse. I expect him to win the Manhattan. Matt, in the Belmont, I expect Tacitus to win. I just think Tacitus is this is his race. This is a distance, a track, being pointed for the race. I just think everything is kind of lining up for Tacitus. I know he's probably going to be the favorite over the Preakness winner, War of Will, but I think this is just the spot for Tacitus.
Yeah, I agree with that, Brian. You know, the more I looked at the race, looking for, possible upsetters and horses to use in other kind of wagers, to me, I find that it would be very unlikely if Tacitus or War of Will don't win the Belmont Stakes.
Okay, I like Tacitus a little bit more than you do, but honestly, obviously, War of Will is the horse that he has to beat. If War of Will runs his best race, then it becomes a really good showdown between the two. We both talked about long shots. We like Tax, Intrepid Heart. I haven't changed since last week. We added Bourbon War to the mix since our preview last week, but I'm going with Tax and Intrepid Heart as my 2 long shots to throw in a little bit as well.
Yeah, and I would throw Spinoff in there and use both of the Todd Pletchers as long shots in there. The others, I'm not particularly interested in.
Yeah, I guess while we like ralliers in some of these races with a lot of speed, I think both Matt and I are off the ralliers, at least in the top spot a little bit in the Belmont. All right, Matt, we've talked about all these races. Let's get down to the bets. People want to see what we're betting, and we got some good ones, hopefully, for our fans today. Let's start with this Festival Pick 6, Matt. Great new bet. I think the big bettors don't like the 20 cents because it pays less, but for so many people, it brings you into the mix. I'm not a big bettor, so this 20-cent pick 6 is something I love, and I love, of course, the races that it includes. Matt, I'm going to use two tickets. I'll go through them real quick. My key in the True North is going to be Catalina Cruiser. I think he's likely winner as long as he comes back in good form. I really like two horses in the Belmont Gold Cup, so I'm going to key those two horses on both tickets. That's Arklow and Ra Atoll. In my two tickets for the next one, which is the Woody Stevens, I'm going to use Mind Control, but I'm going to throw in some others, especially some horses who can rally. I'm looking at Honest Mischief as a big talent. Maybe I'm going to throw him in. But Baracho, Nitrous, and Hog Creek Hustle are all horses who might benefit from a fast pace and should have good odds. Then in the Met Mile, I'm using Forensic Fire. I'm going to throw in on the first ticket McKinsey, Matoli, Thunder Snow, Coal Front, and Prince Lucky. 6 horses who I think could win the Met Mile. Maybe we'll get some odds in there. And then I'm singling the last 2 races, Matt. Bricks and Mortar and Tacitus. That's true in both. My second ticket, I am going to throw in some horses in case Catalina does not win it. That would be Strike Power, Talented Speed, but even more so, I like Whitmore and Duchère as the ralliers. Again, I'm using the same 2 in the Belmont Gold Cup, the same 5 in the Woody Stevens. In this ticket, I'm only going to use Forensic Fire, McKinsey, and Matoli as the 3 I like best in the Met Mile. And again, singling, Bricks and Mortar, Tacitus. By the way, Matt, those 2 tickets are only going to cost you $12 and $24, $36 to get you a whole bunch of festival pick 6 action. Hopefully I'm alive after day 1.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. And fans, you also have to know that this is not a rainbow kind of ticket. This is not a jackpot ticket. This is just a pick 6 ticket. It's going to pay out at the end of Saturday, regardless of what happens in the sequence. It is a low takeout wager also, which is one of the things that you should always be looking for is low takeout opportunities. So there are so many reasons why this is a fun race to play. I've got 1 ticket, Brian, and talk about getting some, getting horses in there. Mine's going to have 288 combinations. Geez, I can't do that in a pick 6 at Belmont on a normal day. I'd have to go rob a bank to pay for that ticket. So 288 combinations, which will be $57.60, which is right in the kind of amount of money that I want to spend on a ticket like that. In the True North, I'm using Catalina Cruiser, Duchère, and Whitmore, the last 2 closers. In the Belmont Gold Cup, I'm going to use 3. I'm going to use the 2 that you like, Brian, Ra Atoll and Arklow, and I'm going to throw in Red Knight, who was a 2-mile winner at Gulfstream this year in the Alan Jerkins. In the Woody Stevens, I'm going to use 4 horses. I'm going to use Mind Control, Complexity, Hog Creek Hustle, and another closer, Lexitonian. Met Mile, I'm using 4 horses. Forensic Fire, McKinsey, Matoli, Thunder Snow. I'm singling Bricks and Mortar in the Manhattan. And in the Belmont, I'm going to use Tacitus and War Will because I think one of those 2 is going to win the race.
Okay, so the festival pick 6 revolves for Matt and I around Bricks and Mortar, and Matt has the two big names in the Belmont. Tacitus, War Will. I just have Tacitus. We'll see. The long shot wins the Belmont. We're not going to win these tickets. A lot can go wrong, honestly, in a pick 6. But we're taking a shot. We're not betting a ton, and I think these are hittable tickets for each of us. We got a lot of similarities, but some noticeable differences in there as well, which is fun. All right, Matt, a couple bets I want to recommend. You know that I talked about Got Stormy in the Just a Game. That's the Just a Game on Saturday. I think she's going to get. I think she's going to get odds again. I think she's going to be 8 or 9 to 1, even though she ran well at Churchill Downs off Rushing Falls. Big favoritism in here. I think she again pounces, makes a big move, and I think this time she could actually win. So I'm just going to put 20 to win on Got Stormy in the Just a Game. And then a few races later, I do want to play the Acorn for sure, because the Acorn is a betting opportunity. I might not win the Acorn. If I win the Acorn, I'm going to win some money. Chances are I won't win the Acorn, but I gotta jump on a betting opportunity. I see a big favorite who's speed, and I see a ton of speed in here. I also see a big favorite who has thrown in some bad races before. I like Serengeti Empress as a horse, but I want to bet against her in the Acorn with this kind of race setup. My two long shots are two skiers who, they don't have the class of Serengeti Empress, but I think both of them are good enough fillies where this spot could just be the right spot for them if they get the fast pace that I think they will. Their names are Proud Emma and Queen of Bees, two long shots in the Acorn. So what I'm going to do, Matt, is I'm going to bet a couple of $10 rolling daily doubles. I'm going to bet horses I like on either side. The first one being World of Trouble. So I'll bet $10 daily double, World of Trouble with Proud Emma and Queen of Bees. And then in the Acorn, I bet a $10 daily double, Proud Emma and Queen of Bees with the horse I most think will win the Woody Stevens, that being Mind Control. Those two bets, 4 daily doubles total, will cost you a total of $40. If one of my long shots wins, I'm right in the Acorn. It'll be a nice payoff match, Shipman.
Yeah, hey, I love daily doubles because you can key on a horse and use some long shots in there, and just make a couple of combination bets in there, and if you hit, you get a good payoff. Relatively low takeout in daily doubles also. One of the other ways,
Matt, you have a 2-day daily double for us?
Yeah, speaking of daily doubles, I have a 2-day daily double. There are 2 of them happening on the weekend. One of them combines the New York Handicap with the Met Mile. In the New York Handicap, I like Homerique in there, so I'm gonna put Homerique, who's probably going to be the favorite in there, which is fine, similar to the way you were using World of Trouble in those daily doubles. I'm going to put Homerique with the same horses that I mentioned in the Met Mile, with Firenze Fire, McKinsey, Matoli, and Thunder Snow, and of course, hoping that McKinsey isn't the winner in there.
Okay, no cold front, and Prince Lucky, interesting long shot if you draw a line for it. But that's certainly a very hittable 2-day daily double if Homerique is as good as Matt and I think she may well be. All right, Matt, I'm just going to throw out some Belmont trifectas. Folks, again, Warwick Will, really nice horse, really good year. I just have a feeling a mile and a half at Belmont, third leg of the Triple Crown for him, might not be his absolute best. So I am going to try to get him a little bit lower in the trifectas here. That's my strategy, and I really think Tacitus is going to run. So I'm going to bet 4 trifectas. Basically, Tacitus wins in the first 2. I'm using Tacitus with my top 2 long shots, Tax and Intrepid Heart. They have to be either second or third. And then I'm going to throw everybody else in for either second and third. Again, this is with Tacitus winning. Everybody but Joe Evia, who I really don't like in the Belmont Stakes. So the first one, Tacitus with the 2 long shots, is a $2 triple. The second one, Tacitus with the 2 long shots, and third is a $1 triple. And then just in case, because I didn't use anybody else in my festival pick 6, I'm going to throw my 2 long shots on top here, Tax and Intrepid Heart. These are $1 trifectas. Again, I'll use Tacitus either second, has to be second, or has to be third, all but Joe Evia in the other 2 spots there. These are all $14 tickets, except for the $2 trifecta is a $28 ticket. Those 4 triples will only cost you $70. If I'm right about Tacitus, I think it has a real shot to hit. And with the long shots in there, it could be, again, a nice payoff.
Yeah, it's a good, well-constructed tickets. Of course, you're not talking about getting the kind of payoff that happens in the Derby, but you get the price horses in there. You'll get a few $100s.
Yeah, well, if it's a Wood Memorial repeat, which I think could happen, Tacitus over Tax, I think these triples are decent. So that's where we are. Folks, I hope you enjoyed our show. Lots of suggested wagers. We went over so many stakes pretty quickly. I hope you followed along the whole way. Matt and I enjoy it. We can't wait for the racing this weekend. Matt, can I get a parting shot from you?
I will be out there at Belmont Park for the Belmont Festival. So if we run into each other, please say hello. And, of course, I want to thank our producer, Brett Workman, for putting together the show.
Big thanks to Brett. Thanks to our sponsor, the best content site out there, Derby Wars. Folks, if you haven't yet subscribed, I bet most of you have already. But if you haven't, hit that little red button to subscribe to Horse Racing Nation channel right here on YouTube. Thanks as always for watching. Matt and I will be back next week with a whole new slew of things to talk about. Post Triple Crown, we'll talk about the Belmont and the Met Mile and other big results as well, but a lot to talk about next week right here on HorseCenter. Thanks for watching.